Hey guys, how's it going? It's me here with another set of power rankings for solo leveling. And this time we're going to talk about Ch.4, which is where Jinwoo first summons his very first skeleton right here. So I'm going to take a look at the characters introduced in this chapter and rank them from weakest to strongest. Let's get started. Alright, now before we begin, there are two things that I would like to mention. The first one being that since I want to keep these videos under an appropriate length so that they do want to get too boring, I am only going to be ranking the characters that were actually shown in the given chapter. This means that if we are talking about a certain character, then he or she must have physically appeared in that chapter. If not, then I won't include them in the power rankings. Of course, there will be some exceptions to this rule, but that'll only happen if the character in question plays a major role in the overall story. Now, the second thing I should mention is that unlike the official manhwa where the chapters are measured in days, I'll be measuring them in pages instead because that's just easier for me. Okay, so with all of that out of the way, let's go ahead and get right into the list. Starting off our list today, we have the first boss monster of solo leveling. And it is a pretty basic one at that. We're talking about this small lizard guy right here. He is obviously a low-level monster because he is called a rat man. And if you notice, even though he has claws, he can't really use them to fight back against the main character and his party members. That's because the protagonist was casually dodging his attacks without even trying. But the most telling sign that this guy is weak is when our main character punches him through the wall. Like, come on, even I could do that. Weak lizard man gets knocked out with ease. Next up, we have this guy right here, who is also considered to be a low-level monster. In fact, he is actually the first low-level monster that we see in the series, because the lizard guy from earlier was actually a normal monster. This guy is weak as well. You can tell just by looking at him because he literally has the word weak written above his head. Then during the battle, you see that the only reason why he managed to survive against hunters was because he used his spear to keep them away from him. But once he lost his weapon, he had no way of defending himself and therefore died very quickly. Now moving on, we have the first human to ever appear in solo leveling. I'm of course talking about this old man right here, who, in my opinion, despite looking frail, is actually stronger than both of the previous characters. You can already tell that he is stronger than the low-level monsters, just based on the fact that the protagonist didn't even need to summon a single shadow soldier to defeat them. He just went toe-to-toe with them and that was enough. Now when it comes to fighting strength, he's definitely weaker than the lizard man and the weakling. But when it comes to strategy and combat experience, he's miles ahead of those two combined. I mean, look at this man's face. Obviously he has seen some stuff. So yeah, he gets the number 3 spot. Now coming in at No. 2, we have the first hunter to ever appear in solo leveling. That's right, the moment we have been waiting for has finally come. Our boy Seung Jinwoo is finally here. And to be honest, he might seem kind of weak at first, especially compared to the protagonist. But you have to remember that he is our main character and the story is always going to be told from his point of view. Therefore, everything that he does will be explained in great detail while everything that the other characters do will not. To put it simply, there is a lot that we do want to know about Jinwoo's abilities because he hasn't shown them yet. For example, he looks relatively weak when fighting the rats and the goblins, but that's probably because he is holding back. Another good example of this is when he uses his skill called Shadow Step. At the time, it didn't seem like a big deal because it only allowed him to move behind the weakling. But what if I told you that it can also be used offensively? What if I told you that he can use it to teleport directly to his enemies and strike them from the shadows? Would that change your opinion of him at all? Personally, I think that it should because this guy is the main character and the protagonist of the story. So I'm not gonna lie. Just the fact that he is the main character alone is enough for me to put him at No. 2. But on top of that, he has actually displayed more strength than the others, at least in my opinion. So yeah, Jinwoo easily takes the second spot. Finally, it's time for the long-awaited No. And for this spot we have none other than the Bone Soldier, also known as the first skeleton that the protagonist ever summoned. But you might be thinking, wait a minute, how can a skeleton that has never fought anyone possibly be stronger than a bunch of characters that we have actually seen in action? Well, the answer to that is quite simple. While it is true that the Bone Soldier has never fought anyone in the manhwa yet, we have actually seen him fight in the donghua. Not only that, but he was able to hold his own against high-level dungeon bosses such as the Skull Reaper and the Giant Orc. He was even able to land some hits on them as well. And do you forget that the reason why he was sent back to the lobby after his first mission was because the gate collapsed, not because he got defeated or anything like that. Now Shohei isn't unbeatable because later on we do see him get one-shot by the Chaos Monster. But even still, he is a beast in the battlefield and one of the most loyal fighters that the protagonist has. And that's why he deserves the No. 1 spot. Alright, now before I end the video, I would like to say that this is by far the closest ranking that I have ever done. As you can see, the difference between No. 1 and No. 2 is very slim. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please make sure to leave a like if you did. Also remember to subscribe if you want to see more content like this. And lastly, you can follow me on social media if you want to stay updated on all things solo leveling. Anyways, that's gonna be it for this video. Thanks for watching, and as always, have a great day. Hey guys, what's up? It's me from the channel. In today's video, we will be discussing Solo Leveling Chapter 5, If you are not yet subscribed, then make sure to hit that subscribe button so that you won't miss any of our future uploads. Also, if you want to support us even further, then feel free to check out our page. The link is in the description below. So thank you guys so much for your continued love and support. Now, in the previous chapter, we saw Jung-ho and his party entering the secret passageway that leads them inside the labyrinth. And now in chapter 5, they're going to continue on with their exploration. But before we get to the new release, let's first take a quick look at the spoilers. This way you guys know what to expect in the upcoming chapter. So first off, let's take a look at the title. This time it's called No Way Out, which seems to imply that the hunters might have gotten themselves into a very sticky situation. And based on the sneak peek that we can see here, this seems to be the case. It looks like our hunters have just entered a large chamber inside the labyrinth, and there are all kinds of treasure chests here. So this means that they are pretty much being attacked by treasure, right? However, if you take a closer look at the background, it seems like there's more to this picture than meets the eye. We can actually see a bunch of eyes peering at them from above. Now, these things look like huge spiders or something. I mean, just take a look at how big they are compared to the average human. I would say they are around 5 times bigger. And if you think that this is already bad enough, well, there are dozens of these creatures hanging upside down from the ceiling. Now, this is exactly what I would call a nightmare. And it looks like Noah is also aware of the danger that they are currently facing, because he has unsheathed his sword. And judging from the determined look on his face, I would say that he's ready to fight. Now, there are plenty of chapters where he gets to show off his amazing swordsmanship skills. So I am really looking forward to this. Also, if you notice, we can see some sort of green glowing liquid dripping from these spiders. It looks like they spit this at our hunters and try to poison them, and one of the spiders seems to have already reached the ground. So this means that the ambush has already begun. This poor hunter over here doesn't seem to realize what's happening though, and he's about to get hit right in the face with a spider web, and from the looks of it, he probably won't be able to dodge this attack. And while all of this is happening, the rest of the team is still stuck outside. They haven't managed to open the door yet, and they're calling out for Noah and the others. As we can see, there are 4 of these iron spiders surrounding him, and their strength is slowly draining away his health bar. These creatures do not belong to any known species, so they must be unique monsters that are only found inside this labyrinth. But it seems like they've completely surrounded him, so I am not too sure if he will be able to escape this one. Even though he has managed to defeat the wolf spider, this is a completely different situation. He's not only dealing with a larger amount of enemies, but their strength is clearly higher as well. And as you can see, his HP is currently dropping at a rapid pace. He will need some backup soon. And speaking of backup, it looks like his teammates are finally making some progress. As we can see, the swordsman over here has managed to break through the door. However, it looks like there's another one behind it. So it seems like they will have to go through quite a few of these doors in order to reach Noah. Meanwhile, Noah continues to fight against the iron spiders. And since he doesn't have any potions, he needs to try and land a critical hit as fast as possible. Otherwise, he might end up fainting right here. And although he has managed to defeat one of the spiders, it seems like the others are starting to get angry. So the situation is definitely not looking good. As we can see, the chapter ends with him realizing that he might not make it out of this alive. And just as he's about to faint, he remembers the words that his father had told him when he was younger. His father had told him to always keep moving forward no matter what happens. Even if he ends up dying, he needs to keep moving forward. And that's exactly what he's going to do. Noah is going to keep fighting against these spiders even if that's the last thing that he does. Now, this is a very inspiring message, don't you think? Even if you are faced with seemingly impossible odds, you should never give up. You always have the option to keep moving forward. Of course, this is easier said than done. I mean, there are some situations where it might actually be better to give up, but in Noah's case, I would say that it's worth giving it a try. He's not only fighting for himself, but for the sake of his entire team as well. If he faints right here, then they will have to drag his unconscious body back to the surface. And who knows what kind of dangers lie ahead. Alright, now that we've gone over the spoilers, let's move on to the main part of the video. In Solo Leveling Chapter 5, we are going to see Noah fight for his life, as he is outnumbered and outmatched. We've seen him take on tough opponents before, but this might be his greatest challenge yet. The iron spiders are strong and relentless, and it will take all of his skill and strength to defeat them. But we know that Noah is a skilled swordsman and a determined fighter. He won't give up easily, and he'll use everything at his disposal to survive. The other hunters will also try to help him. They know that they need to get through those doors in order to reach Noah, but they'll have to be careful not to get lost in the labyrinth themselves. Chapter 5 is shaping up to be an exciting and intense one. We can't wait to see how Noah and his team will escape this situation. And we'll also get to see more of the labyrinth and its many secrets. The stakes are high, and the danger is real. But we know that our hunters are up to the task. Alright, so that's everything we have for you today. Thank you guys for watching, and make sure to tune in next time. If you enjoyed it, then please leave a like and a comment down below. It really helps us out. Until then, stay tuned for more news and updates. Thanks. Bye. This is Solo Leveling, Chapter 6. Jinwoo had just returned to his apartment when his phone rang. It was a call from the Hunters Association, Hello, this is Sung-Jin. Mr. Sung-Jinu, thank you for answering the call. I am very sorry to bother you at this late hour, but there is something we would like to ask of you. On the other end of the line was the director of the 12th Bureau of the Hunters Association. He was probably in his 40s and was the person who had been in charge of Jin Woo's registration as an S-rank hunter. Although he sounded apologetic, his tone left no room for Jin Woo to refuse. I see. After hanging up the phone, Jin Woo headed out again. He didn't know what the association wanted from him, but he guessed it wasn't good. As he opened the front door and stepped out, he found a black car waiting for him. There were two men in black suits inside, both of them looking serious. They invited Jin Woo to get in without saying a word. The car drove straight to the Hunters Association building, bypassing the usual checkpoints. The building's security system automatically opened the entrance as soon as the car arrived. Inside the spacious lobby, Jin Woo saw many hunters coming and going. Some of them were a rank or higher, their presence making the air crackled with power, but they all seemed focused on their own business, and none of them acknowledged Jin Woo's presence. The atmosphere was tense. The two men in black suits led Jin Woo up a flight of stairs and into a large office with floor-to-ceiling windows. Behind the desk sat a man who looked to be in his mid-30s. His sharp eyes scanned Jin Woo from head to toe. "You are Sung-Jin Woo, right? Come closer." Jin Woo walked over and stopped right in front of the man. "The reason I called you here today is because your abilities have attracted a lot of attention. Your performance during the raid was extraordinary. Not only did you single-handedly defeat the dungeon boss, you also managed to clear the entire instance dungeon by yourself. And there are rumors that you've even got the attention of the shadow creature. Is this true?" Jin Woo could sense the intense scrutiny in the man's eyes, as if he were trying to see through Jin Woo to figure out what kind of abilities he possessed. "I heard about the dungeon boss too. Seems like a lot of people died there." "That is correct, but it doesn't have anything to do with me." "Then why did you accept the raid if you knew the risk?" "Because I wanted to find someone stronger than me." "Stronger than you? What do you mean by that?" "I heard that the dungeon boss had the strength of an S-rank hunter. I wanted to see how far my abilities have grown since I became a hunter. I've spent almost a year in training and now I can finally fight without holding back." "Are you sure you can handle it if you face an S-rank hunter now? Are you sure you won't die?" The man leaned forward, his eyes boring into Jin Woo. "I will not lose." Jin Woo's voice was calm and unwavering. It showed the man that Jin Woo was not boasting or being arrogant. "Very well, then let's see what kind of strength you possess." The man stood up and walked toward the window. "There is a place I want you to go. Can you get there within 3 days?" He turned around and gestured to a photo frame on his desk. Inside there was a picture of a young woman with long flowing hair. She looked beautiful, but there was a sadness in her eyes that made her seem distant. "Who is she?" "My younger sister. She went missing one day and has not been seen since. We believe she might have been taken by a certain necromancer. We don't know where he is or how to find him, which is why we need your help. We have a lead that he may be hiding in an abandoned amusement park in the southern part of the city. Our people cannot enter because it is too dangerous. That is why I am sending you there." The man's voice was filled with urgency, and Jin Woo could sense the desperation behind it. "When do I need to report back?" "As soon as you find him, bring him back here immediately." "What if I can't find him?" The man turned back to the window, his silhouette outlined against the moonlight. "Then search until you do. No matter how long it takes, I want that man brought to justice." The man walked away and Jin Woo followed him out of the office. Outside, the two men in black suits were waiting for him. "Go directly to the target location. If you have any questions, contact the association." Without another word, they drove Jin Woo to the outskirts of the city. The abandoned amusement park loomed before him, a twisted metal skeleton under the pale moonlight. Broken roller coasters clawed at the sky, their shadows dancing on the ground like macabre puppets. The entrance to the park was blocked by a rusted fence. Jin Woo pushed it open and stepped inside. The wind whispered through the empty rides, rustling the dead leaves that crunched under his feet. In the flickering glow of the street lamps, Jin Woo saw the tombstones, each one bearing the name and likeness of a victim taken by the Jin Woo swore to avenge them. In the depths of the ruined amusement park, amidst the decaying roller coasters and haunted houses, stood a dilapidated mansion. Vines climbed its crumbling facade and shattered windows stared blankly like vacant eyes. This was the necromancer's lair. Jin Woo approached cautiously, his senses alert for any sign of danger. Suddenly, the ground trembled beneath his feet, as if something massive was stirring within the mansion. A guttural growl echoed from the darkness, sending shivers down his spine. The necromancer was awakening. Jin Woo's eyes narrowed as he gripped his sword tightly. It was time to face the monster that had tormented these people for so long. Taking a deep breath, Jin Woo burst through the front door, steeling himself for the battle ahead. Inside the mansion, an eerie silence hung in the air, broken only by the sound of Jin Woo's footsteps. Cobwebs brushed against his skin as he moved deeper into the house. The air grew colder, and a faint, sweet smell, like decaying flowers, filled his nostrils. Then he saw him, seated on a throne-like chair in the center of the room. The necromancer's skeletal fingers rested on two swords, his hollow eyes fixed on Jin. "Finally, you have come." the Necromancer rasped, his voice like the scraping of bones. "I've been expecting you, Jin." The Necromancer rose from his seat, his bony fingers tightening around the hilts of his swords. A wave of energy surged from him, and skeletons emerged from the shadows, their empty sockets burning with spectral fire. They surrounded Jinwoo, their swords raised in unison. "So this is what it means to be a necromancer, to control the dead." Jinwoo unsheathed his sword, its silver blade gleaming in the dim light. With a warrior's cry, he charged forward, his sword flashing like lightning as he cut down the skeletons one by one. Their bones shattered, but more kept coming, rising from the ground, relentless and unending. Jinwoo fought with the skill of a seasoned warrior, his movements precise and efficient, but the necromancer's power seemed limitless. Every time a skeleton fell, two more took its place. Exhaustion began to creep upon Jinwoo, but he refused to falter. He had come too far to turn back now. Summoning every ounce of strength he possessed, Jinwoo unleashed a powerful sword thrust, piercing the heart of the last remaining skeleton. The necromancer watched impassively as the skeletons fell, their ethereal flames extinguished one by one. A cruel smile crept onto his skeletal face. "Impressive," he rasped, his voice echoing with amusement, "but your efforts are in vain. I am beyond death. My power knows no bounds." With a wave of his hand, the necromancer summoned forth a torrent of dark energy. Gino deflected the attack, narrowly avoiding the full force of the energy blast, but it was only a prelude to the real onslaught. From the depths of the earth, the necromancer commanded an army of skeletons to rise, their empty sockets blazing with spectral fire. Their moans echoed through the chamber, a haunting symphony of death. The necromancer's power was truly formidable, but Jinwoo refused to yield. With a warrior's cry, he charged into the fray, his sword a blur of motion as he cut down the skeletons one by one. Their bones shattered, but more kept coming, rising from the ground, relentless and unending. Yet amidst the chaos, Jinwoo noticed a pattern in the skeletons' movements, a rhythm to their attacks. With each swing of his sword, he gained a deeper understanding of their nature. The more skeletons he fought, the more his confidence grew. He was not merely swinging a blade, he was dancing with death itself. And as the dance reached its climax, Jinwoo unleashed his final attack, a whirlwind of steel that tore through the ranks of the skeletons. Their bones scattered, dissolving into dust motes, dancing in the faint light. The necromancer watched, his hollow eyes wide with disbelief. His power, his dominion over death itself, was being challenged, nay, conquered by this mere mortal. Rage contorted his skeletal features, his grip tightening on his swords. With a roar that shook the very foundations of the mansion, the necromancer unleashed his ultimate attack. The ground trembled as a wave of necrotic energy surged forth, tendrils of darkness reaching out to consume Jin. But Jinwoo stood firm. He had faced countless monsters, delved into the darkest dungeons, and survived the wrath of gods. He would not be cowed by this necromancer's final gambit. Drawing upon his inner strength, Jinwoo unleashed a surge of energy, meeting the necromancer's attack head-on. The clash of their powers reverberated through the mansion, shaking the very walls. As the dust settled and the energy subsided, Jinwoo found himself face to face with the stunned The necromancer stared back, his hollow eyes flickering with disbelief. The realization dawned on him that his reign over death was at an end. With a surge of adrenaline, Jinwoo pressed his advantage, his sword flashing in the dim light. The necromancer, caught off guard, could only watch in horror as Jinwoo's blade pierced his chest, extinguishing the spectral flame that burned within him. As the necromancer collapsed, his form crumbling into dust, the mansion fell silent. The skeletons froze, their movements ceasing as if a puppet master's strings had been cut. Jinwoo stood amidst the ruins of the mansion, the necromancer's swords clattering to the ground. His chest heaved as he caught his breath, his muscles aching from the intense battle. Around him, the skeletons lay in pieces, their bony forms shattered and inert. A sense of weariness, both physical and emotional, washed over him. The fight had been arduous, the necromancer's relentless army seemingly unending. But Jinwoo had prevailed. He had vanquished the monster that had plagued this place, bringing an end to the necromancer's reign of terror. The wind whispered through the shattered windows of the mansion, carrying with it the scent of decay and the faintest echo of laughter, perhaps of those whose souls were finally freed from the clutches of the neck. With a deep breath, Jinwoo turned and walked away from the ruined mansion, leaving behind the remnants of his battle and the spirits that now knew peace. As the first rays of dawn touched the horizon, painting the sky with hues of gold and crimson, Jinwoo stepped out of the shadows of the abandoned amusement park. Behind him, the decaying roller coasters and haunted houses stood as silent witnesses to the battle that had raged within the derelict mansion. The journey back to the city was filled with a somber quiet, the weight of the battle still heavy on his shoulders. Yet as the cityscape came into view, a sense of relief washed over him. The necromancer was defeated, his reign of terror brought to an end. The people of the city, though forever marked by their encounter with the darkness, could now begin the long process of healing. As he drove deeper into the city, The familiar streets and buildings offered a comforting sight. The bustling energy of the city, though muted by the events of the night, was a welcome change from the oppressive silence of the amusement park. With the sun climbing higher in the sky, Jinwoo emerged from the car in front of the Hunters Association building. The familiar sight brought a sense of normalcy, a grounding force after the surreal events of the past few days. The people he had sworn to protect were safe, at least for now, and that was all that mattered. With a newfound resolve, Jinwoo straightened his posture and adjusted his clothes. He was ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead, knowing that he was stronger, wiser, and most importantly, he was not alone. The sun shone brightly in the cloudless sky, a symbol of hope and resilience. Jinwoo took a deep breath, savoring the feeling of the warm sunlight on his skin. For now, the city was safe, and as he looked up at the endless blue above, he knew that as long as he stood guard, the shadows would never consume it. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave us a like and subscribe for more content. Also, don't forget to check out our Discord server and join our community for exclusive content and early access to videos. Thank you for watching. Until next time.